Hey, welcome back to Album April. It's April 11th, and today I listened to In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. With no context, that last sentence must have sounded like complete gibberish. Neutral Milk Hotel is among the weirdest band names I've ever heard. Just three words that have nothing in common shoved together. The process of me finding this album is very much like how I found Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco. I was just looking up albums people say were really good, and here comes this album by some indie band I've never heard of. In the Airplane Over the Sea was their album that was released in 1998. I admit going into this I was a little bit skeptical because I was not that impressed with Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, and I was just expecting this to be another one of those groundbreaking indie albums that I'm just not going to care for, but I like this one quite a bit. Neutral Milk Hotel had this very high energy, bluesy, folksy sound to it, pretty much like Mumford & Sons before Mumford & Sons. For almost every song on this album, at the core of it is someone just wailing away on an acoustic guitar. I wouldn't be surprised if they broke a couple of these guitars. And that sound of the acoustic guitar serves as a sort of heartbeat for all the songs. In fact, there were a couple points where both the singer and the, I think, synth or some other type of instrument was just holding a note, and the only way I knew that the song hadn't frozen somehow was the acoustic guitar still strumming along at a normal rhythm. Lyrically, I'm sure there are themes that are delved into on this album, but just listening to it for the first time with no context, it just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook to me. A lot of it sounds like it comes from Loser by Beck. I mean, I'm fairly certain they talk about sex and Jesus and people leaving, I think. For songs like these, I kind of just see the vocals as another one of the instruments. I think the main reason why this album worked and why it didn't get boring and repetitive is that they kept the energy up the entire time. For the most part, obviously there were some slow moments, but they did keep going back to that acoustic guitar. The only song on this album that I didn't really like was Oh Comely, and that was mostly just because it was way too long. But other than that, this album is full of pretty solid tracks. I really liked Ghost. Ghost was my favorite. I liked the apparently untitled song right after it. I liked the titular track, In the Airplane Over the Sea. I liked Holland, 1945. There were a lot of good songs here. Though it's kind of hard thinking about individual songs on this album because they sort of take the Dark Side of the Moon approach where the intros and outros of the songs sort of blend into each other. For example, the end of Ghost sort of continues through into the beginning of the next untitled song, which almost kind of makes me think of that as Ghost Part 2, except there actually are other songs on this album that are divided into different parts. And the album ended very interestingly. I remember the last lyric was something along the lines of, "Love her, but don't be sad when she has to leave," or something like that. And then you hear whoever is recording this literally stop, get up, and I think leave. From the beginning, I was skeptical of this album. Just the band name, I think, was a big part of it. It's just so silly to me. But I included it anyway, and I'm glad I did, because I actually liked this album quite a bit. If you enjoy that sort of Mumford & Sons, Judah and the Lion sort of sound, I would check this out. Thumbs up from me. Alright, thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.